Combining consciousness and feeling for success is the topic for today. And I've proven this in my own life. And I'm going to show you through illustration and information from the master teacher, Neville Goddard, how this is possible. Because remember that Earl Nightingale said many years ago that the strangest secret is that we become what we think about. And remember, Napoleon Hill in his great work, Think and Grow Rich, said that if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. This is done through consciousness and feeling. We're going to find out how right now, and you'll have practical information that you can apply in your life starting today. Neville Goddard taught and claimed that feeling is the secret. He also claimed and taught and practiced that what we become conscious of becomes real in our world. How can we tie feeling and what we're conscious of together to bring about the reality, the goals you seek, and fulfill your desires and manifest your goals? This is what we're going to take a close look at right now with the help of Neville Goddard, and I invite you to consider the possibilities in your life and how you can manifest your desires through consciousness and feeling.
In knowing how to apply consciousness and feeling, I'd like to first establish some basic understanding, again, very basic but very deep understanding that consciousness and feeling combined bring about your reality. And then I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to give you an example in just a few minutes. Notice here what Neville said. He said that Moses stated, "I am that I am." Now here's something to always bear in mind. It's a lovely illustration. Neville says, you cannot put new wine in old bottles or new patches upon old garments. That is, you cannot take with you into your new consciousness any part of the old man, that who you are currently or used to be. All of your present beliefs, fears, and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, you must leave behind all that is now your present self, or conception of yourself. And bear this in mind also. Your desires are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is the idea subconsciously accepted. And only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. So it has to be accepted on a subconscious level, and as we mentioned, it can't take the old man or the old you with it. This is a complete new concept of what you want your life to be, accepted on a subconscious level, then manifested on a physical level. Neville goes on to add, it is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of your world, of this world, reflect your feeling. However, it is eternally true that the outside mirrors the inside of us, what we are feeling and thinking and believing as true. As within, so without is ever true. The way of thinking and feeling your life as you wish it to be must become a habit. Neville says that after the choice is made and accepted, so that it forms the individual's habitual consciousness. Yes, we want it to be a habitual way of thinking. Then, imagination manifests its infinite power and wisdom by doing what? By molding the outer sensuous world of becoming in the image of the habitual inner speech and actions of the individual. So what we think and believe as true for ourselves and what we feel to be true is manifested after we make this habitual or habitual center, and then the powers of manifestation can do their work. Think of your awareness, your consciousness of who you are becoming and who you are. Think of that as your master, what you become aware of. As Neville says, I am your awareness. is the Lord and Master, and besides your awareness or your consciousness, there's neither Lord nor Master. You are the master of all that you will ever be aware of. Notice, of being. Now, ask the question. You know that you are, do you not? Knowing that you are is the Lord and Master of that which you know that you are. This is how important becoming conscious of our desire as ours is. Now, many of us have heard or read many times that Neville said, you already are what you wish to be. We must believe that we already are, and that will liberate us from that limitation and bring us into what we desire to be. He says, and continuing in this perfect law of liberty is to persist. We must persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. You're not a forgetful hearer when you keep notice the feeling of your wish fulfilled, constantly alive in your consciousness. And that brings us to the how. As promised, here's how. To do this, first of all, take your attention away from all that is now your problem or limitation and dwell upon just being. That is, you say silently but feelingly to yourself, I am. So what we're speaking about here is the process of going into your I am meditation. I'll leave a link for the I am meditation above, and you can click on that, because it's this I am meditation where we go into that alpha state where we can bring in what we're conscious of and what we feel as vividly true in our lives, therefore combining consciousness and feeling. So once again, notice you take your attention away from all that is now your problem. Again, the wine and old wineskins, that's not going to work. Your old man, your previous self. Take your thoughts, disregard that for the moment as you go into your meditation, and do what? Dwell upon just being. That is, you say silently but feelingly to yourself, I am. Now, this next paragraph will remind you very much of Joe Dispenza, if you are familiar with his work, because Neville says, do not condition this awareness as yet. In other words, don't throw your goal in there yet. Just relax and feel I am. He says, just declare yourself to be and continue to do so, probably do so for quite a few minutes, until you are lost in the feeling of just being, faceless and formless, and not conditioned by your goal yet. So you are just relaxing into your meditation, preparing yourself to bring into your consciousness, your awareness, that goal as already yours, and to feel it as true in your imagination. Now, just before you go into that meditative state, we know that you've already designed and constructed, and I recommend actually writing it out, not only your goal, but a specific event, an imaginal event. I'll leave the link for that video also. So you've already constructed what your desire will look like when it's fulfilled. And this is what Neville brings about here as he talks about what we do just before we go into that meditation, or before we begin to meditate it and bring it into our feeling and consciousness. He says to do this. Construct mentally a drama which implies that your desire is realized, and make it one in which involves movement of self. Immobilize, that is, relax, lay down or sit back, perhaps close your eyes, breathe, and begin to go into that meditation, that feeling of I am. He says, immobilize your outer physical self. That's what is meant there. Relax. Act precisely as though you were going to take a nap, and start the predetermined action in imagination. Again, you've predetermined your outcome, your desired imagined outcome. And he says this is a vivid representation of the action, and it is the beginning of that action. Then, as you are falling asleep, consciously imagine yourself into the scene. Constructing that scene, consciously imagining yourself into the scene, is clearly described in my video on the imaginal event, link above. The length of the sleep is not important. A short nap is sufficient. But carrying the action into sleep thickens into fancy. So In our subconscious mind, it is thickening or becoming a habitual way of consciously believing. Again, this becomes our habitual state of belief, and then it will manifest physically. Now, no one said it would be easy. If you're new to these practices, especially, your mind may drift. Neville says at first your thoughts may be like rambling sheep that have no shepherd. Don't despair. Should your attention stray 70 times 7, bring it back 70 times 7 to its predetermined course. Again, you've constructed it and you've predetermined it, and you carry this into your sleep until, from sheer exhaustion, it follows the appointed path, and you fall asleep with this sinking deeply into your subconscious mind, where it can do its work and affect everything in your outside world to bring that feeling and conscious acceptance into your actual real world. My video post, asking the right questions, the questions you want to ask yourself to help put yourself in the spirit of the thinking of what you wish to manifest. These questions are excellent. These can be added to that. And I'll leave the link for my right questions video. You can click on that and learn more. Well, Neville said here, what would you think and say and do were you already the one you want to be? So you want to ask yourself, what would I think and say and do? What would be an event, an imaginal act that would imply that I already am the one I want to be? So begin to think and say and do this inwardly. You do that inwardly through your imaginations and through reminders throughout your day. Remember that it's an inside job. As within, so without. We become what we dwell in or think about. You are becoming conscious of and feeling that you already are and already have your goal as yours. As Neville states here, the inner journey must never be without direction. When you take the inner road, it is to do what you did mentally, what you predetermined mentally before you started your meditation. You go for the prize you have already seen and accepted and, may we add, felt as true for you. I'd like to recommend that you not overcomplicate this. We see in this illustration a child on the beach building sandcastles, using his imagination. We were born to do this. It's a natural quality to imagine what we'd want to create and see it before it's created. He saw this tall, beautiful castle before he began to dig in the sand, and he focused on it and did it until it became a beautiful mountain sandcastle because he used his imagination. But we as adults need to practice. To learn how to use and develop your conscious and feeling together, click now for more, and I'll talk to you again soon.